When I left Christianity and fundamentalist churches, I realized that churches teach its members that salvation is attainable by how much money you give to the church. If you've ever noticed that in churches, they never seem to be happy with the amount of money that churches receive. They're always wanting more. Is it because God is terrible at finances, or because whatever they get has to be increased annually? In the 7 churches I was in the 30 years I went to church, I noticed that the members that had the highest standing in any membership or church environment were those that did the most unpaid labor. Volunteering, events, teaching, they were seen as the pinnacle of the hierarchy of power. The more you give, the more you're a good Christian. And yet the Bible says that people who really want to be most in the kingdom are to do things anonymously. They're not supposed to tell people or make it a spectacle. They're not supposed to thrive on public or private congratulations and gratitude. Why is leadership and how people are viewed as good Christians, why does it always seem to center around how much you put into the church? And I'm not talking about doing normal things. I'm talking about almost living at the church. There were families and married couples that were there 6 days a week, teaching, giving, leading. I mean, going to church and being involved isn't enough. They want more of your time. And my mother would sometimes have to have very awkward conversations about, well, why aren't you going? Why aren't you helping? Because I have other responsibilities outside church. And that's why single people aren't held as valuable or equal with married people, because if you don't have a family, what other responsibilities could you have? Plenty. Work, hobbies, friends, visits. There's so many reasons why people can't or won't assist. And you have to give more money just to be taken seriously as big in the church? This is toxic and so unhealthy. People should be rewarded equally for giving a little or a lot. And any group that makes you have to give everything and still want more money, more time, more involvement is not anything I want to be a part of. That's why cults want your time, your money, your attention. That's why they want to isolate you from other people. And if you're always ingesting Christian ideology, you'll seldom think of other things. And it's so sad how people just have to keep giving more. Giving what you gave a few weeks ago isn't enough. You always have to constantly be giving something. It's an ever-revolving door. And what's really tragic is that sometimes families suffer because a father is outside the family unit doing something and isn't giving the attention to their family. Same can go for women. And I'm not saying because women have to be in the home. I'm saying that sometimes volunteering for God can, if you don't have things set in place, rules, schedules, and commitments, if you don't have things well balanced, sometimes your kids, your spouse, can suffer because of it. And this isn't a gender thing. This is just being a human being. You have to say no sometimes. But when you're used to saying yes, it can be hard to say no. And women do the brunt of emotional and physical labor in church. Volunteering, churches were actually forced to pay people for volunteering there would be very few events, I'm sure. If your standing with God and the people in the church hinges on how much time, how much money you give, that's not a group I want to be a part of. Because people give and are around to be important.